Good morning and welcome. Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason on this Thursday. I hope it finds you well out there. You know what? It's been beautiful here in the Valley of the Sun. The rest of the country has been frozen solid. But I heard maybe next week, we are going to start getting some better weather for everybody else out there. I know spring training started here. You know, we got spring training games getting ready to kick off. Baseball season around the corner. It's not football. Let's be honest. It's not football, but at least it's something. Speaking of something, how about Donald Trump saying, hey, we're going to audit Fort Knox. Get ready. This is all potentially part of the bigger picture here. Are we going to be getting a major gold revaluation? These are the steps that would be required to do it. Our toll-free number, 800-951-0592. We did get jobless claims today. Really, not a lot there. 219,000. That's kind of been the number. Continuing claims, 1.9 million again, also kind of the number. The funny part is they keep telling us there's all these layoffs in D.C. But in the weekly jobless claims number, at least the one from last week and this week, nothing. Yeah, it was a big fat zero, but I don't know, right? We don't know, but we have yet to see any of those effects on the number. But the big news today really was yesterday afternoon. We got the Fed minutes. Talk of ending quantitative tightening, just like I told you. We did get news out of Walmart. It was okay, but unfortunately, stocks aren't priced for okay, right? They're priced to perfection. The Dow having a very tough day today. The gold has hit another all-time record high. We had an all-time closing high yesterday. We hit an new all-time intraday record high, and right now we will have another new all-time closing high. We'll see where this ends up. And then Donald Trump also announcing support for a bill in the House calling for $4.5 trillion in tax cuts. That's kind of the extension of the tax cuts he did that were supposed to expire this year. And I don't know if that includes more tax cuts or not, but also a $4 trillion increase in the debt ceiling, which sounds like a huge amount of money. It's like, okay, $4 trillion. Of course, that will put us over $40 trillion, but that won't even get you through 2026. So it's a lot, but it doesn't last that long. But he is trying to get past it. Looks like the House may be able to get through. I don't know about the Senate, but this is just a huge amount of spending. $4.5 trillion in tax cuts in exchange for $2 trillion in spending cuts. And again, when they talk this stuff, over 10 years, right? This is the over 10 years thing. So obviously you do simple math. They're like, okay, wait, we're going to $4.5 trillion tax cut, $2 trillion. Okay, we're $2.5 trillion short there. That number is not the greatest. And then $4 trillion increase in the debt ceiling. In the House plan, it would direct $300 billion to military and border spending, but it's still going to take about a month to hash out here. So it appears that there's going to be, at least this is the plan that Trump is endorsing, $4.5 trillion in tax cuts. Most of that, I don't know if it's all of it, but most of it will be just the extension of the tax cuts that were supposed to expire this year. On top of that, $2 trillion in cuts. I don't know where that's going to come from, but $2 trillion in cuts and a $4 trillion increase in the debt ceiling, which, like I said, that'll get us to, I don't know, this time next year, maybe the summer of next year. But we'll have to see. Right now, like I said, the big news today on Wall Street was Walmart disappointing with their, not only with their earnings, with their guidance, and then more news. It just doesn't stop every day. How much trouble is London having getting people to lease them gold to make these deliveries? We've got that and so much more coming up next. Stay with us. We're back here, the Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason on this Thursday, 800-951-0592. And as we continue to watch what's happening, particularly when it comes to the gold markets, more trouble as more people don't want to lend gold to the exchanges in London and New York. Lease rates continuing to skyrocket. So in other words, what does that mean? Well, pretty simple. You want to borrow some of my gold? You're going to have to pay me a lot more for it. And that's kind of what's happening here. And right now, it doesn't look like they're going. And again, these are contracts for delivery. They have wiggle room. Will we get an official forcing of cash, which would be a default? I don't know. But lease rates, we'll keep our eye on it. The higher these lease rates go, the higher gold's going to go. Right now, the Dow is down almost 600 points. Again, we keep talking about this, right? It is priced for perfection. We see these at tops of markets. Walmart's earnings, they weren't horrible. They weren't. But unfortunately, like I said, it wasn't good enough. And what they're saying they're going to be making this year, not enough. So the Dow down 583, the S&P's down 52, the Nasdaq's down 180. The 10-year note's pretty flat here, around 452. Like I said, jobless claims, no big spike that we're waiting for with all of these government layoffs. We haven't seen it yet. We'll see about what happens next week. Gold, like we said, has hit a new intraday all-time record high. Right now, gold is up, $5-6 here, $29.40. It's been as high as $29.55. Silver, a good day here, just below $33 to the ounce. And we keep saying it. I'll keep telling it to you. Get more diversified. Be safe here. Here's the good thing. Listen. Trump may be able to pull off some good things. Maybe we'll see. A lot of this, and I've said this before. A lot of this, there's not a lot he can do here, right? I mean, we sit here. We had another crappy auction yesterday, right? These bond auctions. The 10-year note can't go a lot lower if you keep having these bad auctions. We're at the debt ceiling. We have no budget, right? They're talking about the amount of more money they're going to spend. And just paper, back of the paper math on a napkin, $4.5 trillion in Texas. So that's over 10 years, $2 billion in cuts, $2 trillion in cuts over 10 years. Well, that's $250 billion right there. Plus the added interest, plus this, plus that, plus. And you kind of see with Wall Street priced right, I mean, we're talking about right next to where the tech bubble was. Higher than the financial crisis. I mean, you got big IRAs out there. You need to take a part of it. Call us. We'll put you into a gold and silver IRA. The thing, like I said, what I like about it, there's not really scenarios here where you see lower gold prices, right? Everyone's talking about, well, gosh, how high are they really going to go, right? If inflation gets worse, higher gold prices. The Fed minutes yesterday, all of a sudden, maybe we got to end taper. There's no maybe. They're going to end it. Quantitative tightening is coming to an end. Why? Well, because that'll at least be $25 billion a month of less bonds that will hit the market. Here's the problem. The Fed has like $250 billion of unrealized losses on their balance sheet. Because all of those bonds that they bought, they bought $9 trillion of bond. Now they got $7 trillion. They sold $2 trillion worth of bonds, and guess what? They lost over $200 billion doing it. Yeah, those are the realities. So if you haven't gotten part of your IRA into gold and silver, do it today. Arlene is here. She handles them all for us. 800-951-0592. And of course, now the Trump administration, Donald Trump now getting, yesterday it was Elon Musk. Today it's Donald Trump. Let's audit Fort Knox. We need to get it done. We're going to go in there. And Jason, again, this is something that would need to be done if they're truly going to revalue these gold reserves, which seems like this is the path we're on. Nobody is saying otherwise. And now we have major gold holders. So we have central banks telling London and New York, nah, you can't borrow our gold. The Federal Reserve of New York refusing to answer Freedom of Information Act requests. We want to know how much gold, other people's gold, are you holding? They don't want to answer. They keep going to the courts. It's been 4 years since this has been filed. No answer. And now we want to audit the gold. And remember, it's not just Fort Knox. There's gold in Denver. There's gold in West Point. I mean, Fort Knox has most of it. Fort Knox has like 60% of the U.S. gold holdings. But it's a good start, right? It's a good start. But here's the thing. We need the whole picture, don't we? How much gold is the Fed holding for other people? Has it been leased out? Right? Has any of our gold been leased out? And Jason, these are the things that I think all of a sudden now we're starting to hear other central banks, other huge holders of gold saying, you know what, guys, we don't trust you. You can't borrow our gold. This has never happened. This has always been something the central banks have we'll just borrow it and we'll prevent the paper markets from getting squeezed, right? They use the paper markets to keep gold and silver down, and now all of a sudden, Jason, lease rates are as high as they've ever been, and they still can't get enough people to give up their gold, at least short term.
Well, I just talked about China, how trying to hold the gold for their customers, and then suddenly the stores that are doing it just shut down, and then the people just don't get their gold. It's not that bleak of a situation, but yeah, Joe, it's who's holding the gold. It's suddenly becoming very important all of a sudden. We've been talking about it for years, right? And now very suddenly, who holds the gold is becoming more and more important every single day, which is why we sell physical gold, and we do the IRAs and things of that nature. We do that side of it, but really what we sell, Joe, is what we try to get into your hands is the physical.
Yep, right into your hands only. Where if you don't hold it, you don't own it. It's pretty much that simple. 800-951-0592 in the Fed minutes yesterday. So 2 weeks after they have the meeting, they release minutes. They give more detail, right? One of the things that they're hoping for is for inflation to maybe come down because we've got some higher months rolling off. And a lot of the Fed governors were like, well, we're hoping that inflation won't go any higher, at least for a while, because we got a couple of big months coming because, they do a 12-month average. So last February, last March may have been some higher months, and maybe we could get it down. But all of them pretty much were saying, yeah, we're not cutting rates, right? We're not cutting rates, but we're hoping that maybe we can get some inflation. Even if the monthly number's bad, the number that falls off will allow the number to maybe not, as again, we're back over 3% and all that stuff. And you always hate when that's what they're telling you. Because here's what really that, at least for me, that means. Yeah, we're not going to be anywhere close to 2%. But here's the thing. At least for the next few months, maybe it won't get any worse. The problem that I have is, what happens in May, June, July? Remember, we got down to like a 2% number on the headline, I think, like in August. So again, don't look for rate cuts when it comes to policy. They were taking shots at the Trump administration, right? Again, they're going to blame somebody else. Trade, potential changes in trade, talking about tariffs, and immigration policy having a potential to hinder the disinflation process. Again, Jason, these guys are disinflation. What disinflation? Inflation's been going back up again for 4 straight months in a row. But these, again, not because of them. Right? They're the ones that lowered rates. Not, we didn't. And now they're saying, well, if it doesn't work and it gets worse, it's all due to tariffs and basically closing the border. A couple of participants noticed it appeared there are risks to achieving the inflation mandate. I agree with that. And so anyway, I think the long and short of the Fed minutes, don't look for a rate cut. The balance sheet. This is where the news was. It may be time. Various participants said this. There's 19 of them. Why don't they just tell us how many? Well, they don't want to. But when you use various, so this means a lot of them are saying that it'll be appropriate to consider pausing or slowing the balance sheet runoff. Now, there's only $25 billion left, so I don't know about slowing it. They said that conclusion of the balance sheet runoff would be appropriate. And they're saying that the current pace of the runoff will reach levels that they say are appropriate. So apparently, Jason, they're comfortable with a balance sheet of around $7 trillion and saying that they expect this to end by the summer of this year. So this is something, again, that we talked about. They also were worried about the financial budget and the deficits of the government as well. So, Jason, really, the Fed saying no rate hikes. We're going to stop quantitative tightening. And, oh, by the way, we're worried about inflation, and we're even more worried about structural deficits of the United States. What does that equal? You got it, guys. Higher gold prices. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back. 800-951-0592. Buckle up. Here we go. Gold's up a dozen now. 29.46. And again, new all-time record highs. Silver's up 35 cents. $33 to the ounce. And again, a very, very bullish, not only when it comes to gold, silver the same way. The Fed now saying, hey, quantitative tightening is going to come to an end in the next 3 months. And this is another one of the, again, this is bullish for the gold price. This will help at least lower the amount of debt being sold every month. The problem is it's just getting replaced, right? We got to, at least for right now, the first shot here with the Trump budget, a big increase in the debt. They're going to try to cut cost. They're hell bent on delivering the tax cut. Again, bullish for gold. We've said this. This is the strategy, and I don't think it's the wrong strategy. Let's try to grow out of it, right? What else can we do? Right? I mean, should the Fed be raising rates right now? Yes. Yes. According to their mandate. Yep. Are they? Nope. And instead, let's stop quantitative tightening. And Jason, I think they understand. They have no choice. A lot more debt is coming. They're going to try to grow out of this, which means inflation. And we've got gold and silver really getting ready to step up to the launching pad. And again, silver's always been easier to manipulate. 40 million ounces physical from the silver market. I mean, that's an incredible amount of silver above what normally is done, right? This is above and beyond. And now we're hearing from central banks saying no to New York and London about, hey, can we borrow your gold? Can we borrow some of your gold so we can make these physical deliveries? Nah, no thanks. Get into this market? Well, you can. Right now, I've got rolls of silver dimes. Let me give you an idea of what great deals we have here. Rolls of silver dimes melt melt on a roll of silver dimes. In other words, if you took a blowtorch to the 50 dimes, you would have $118 worth of silver. I've got them on sale for $120. I've got 300 rolls. Here's what I'm going to do. Anybody that buys 50 rolls or more, I'm going to take it down to $115 a roll, but you're going to get them in a quarter bag for $115 to give you an idea, right? You're going to be buying silver if you buy 20 or 50 rolls or more. 50 rolls or more. By the way, 50 rolls at $115, $5,750. Like I said, I only got 300 rolls. You'll be buying it below melt. You got to be about $32.20, right? Silver right now it's $33. And when you look at this, listen, the other thing to remember, silver March contract, March is a week away. It's $33.50. So way below melt. So here's the great part. Buy a roll 1 through 49, you're essentially buying it for melt. I mean, melt's $118, but you're, 50, not 25, 50. Sorry, they're dimes. So quarter bag of dimes, 50 rolls. It was my fault. You know what? Arlene, I'm going to do it. Arlene just came in and handed me a note because I told her 25. We'll do this. Forget it. You only got to buy 25 rolls to get the 115. How's that? I'll make it even better for you. Jason's nodding his head saying yes.
It's an eighth of a bag. So a quarter of a bag, you'd half that. All right. 25 rolls.
$2,875, an eighth of a bag of dimes. You'll be buying silver, government hallmark silver below melt, right here. That's why we're the best around. 800-951-0592. Yesterday, remember, we did the Morgan dollar special. That's gone, right? The $5 Liberty special. What a special that's gone. But to give you an idea, it's an interesting thing that's happening today. The Dow is now down almost 700 points. And all of you know, the people that really listen to this show, usually without fail, big down days, gold and silver sell off. It just does. Why? Because, well, gosh, I gotta offset my loss with something I made money on, and you get these big sell-offs. Not today. Not today. Dow's down almost 700 points, and gold's at a new all-time record high. Silver charging here now, getting ready. Like I said, I really think we're going to see $40 silver this year. That's just where I see it. Especially now the Fed, you know how the Fed likes to do things. We're first going to put it into the minutes. We're going to, we got, a lot of market participants want to get rid of quantitative tightening. And, oh, by the way, summer sounds like a good time. Right? Sounds like a good time. So they're letting the markets know, hey, in the next 3 months or so, 3 months, 4 months, no more quantitative tightening. Jason, I think this is going to be something where when people start talking about $3,300 gold, $3,500 gold, $40 silver, these are the things that need to happen, and they're happening.
How much is that eighth of a bag? How much is that again?
$2,875 to get government hallmark silver below melt and way below melt. We'll be back after the break. 800-951-0592. I don't think these times are going to last much longer here. We do have a line open, so if you want to jump in, 800.
115 a roll, right, Joe? 115 a roll, 20.
1 through 24, 120. $120 a roll, 1 through 24 rolls, 25 rolls or more at $115 at 800-951-0592. Now, right now, silver's $33. Okay, so when you look at melt on a roll of dimes, $118 is melt for a single roll. So if you buy 25 rolls or more, you're going to be at $115. So you're below melt, right? Even if you bought one roll, 5 rolls, 120, you're right there. And here's the thing: in 8 days, right? They go. The March contract becomes the new spot. It's at $33.50. Guess what, Jason? At that point, melts $120. Well, $119.76. Right? You're buying silver at and below melt right now. The problem is we only got 300. Well, we don't even have 300 rolls left. I'll try to get a number up the next break, but 800-951-0592. So we had Donald Trump saying we're going to audit Fort Knox. The Fed trying to not tell the world who has what and how much gold. We know about the squeeze in London. And then Bloomberg today saying there is no sign of any let-up in the funneling of gold into the United States. This is physical gold deliveries taking place. The squeeze in physical metal in Europe is persisting, and they're saying that gold hoarding now, listen to this, gold hoarding by these emerging central banks is a big part of the problem. It's left inventories in Europe and London short, and they're saying that, well, nobody wants to lend it to them. And here's the thing, they're talking about all this gold coming to the COMEX. Listen, guess where the gold holdings are now at the COMEX? They're just back to where they were 3 years ago. That's it, right? It's not like, oh my gosh, look at all of this gold. No. This is what we're saying. This is a huge fundamental shortage in these markets. The silver market, the same thing is happening here, and these deliveries now, Jason, it looks like there's going to be no end in sight here. If they can't come up with a price high enough, and again, why does gold keep rising? Well, will anybody let us borrow their gold? And here's the thing. How much are you going to pay me? How much over the spot price are you going to pay us? And guess what? The higher that goes, the higher the spot price goes, because it's basically saying, Jason, this is what's going to be the new spot price. I mean, it's just that simple.
And then tariff ideas kind of puts a little more stress on the price as well, Joe, because that could be, we see other metals now are being tariffed, coming into the United States, and so I don't think gold and silver would be far behind.
Aluminum's been tariffed. There's talk about, are they going to tariff oil? Are they going to tariff silver? Are they going to tariff copper? Right? These are things that when we look at the Trump budget and how much they want to spend, it appears, I don't know any way around it. I mean, we're short $2.5 trillion. Right? So somewhere we need to come up with, somewhere close to $250 billion a year, somewhere. Because they're saying $200 billion a year in spending cuts, which I think they, let's hope they can deliver that. I'm going to make it a song. Okay, if you can deliver that, you still need another $250 billion somewhere else just for the deficit to only go up about half a billion or $500 billion because of the higher interest rates. Right? That's just stay around $2.5 trillion for the year. They want a $4 trillion increase in the debt ceiling. Well, that only gets them to, I don't know, maybe June of next year. I mean, it doesn't get them very far. It may not even get them that far. It is something where it's an exciting time because there's so much going on. The Trump administration signed an executive order trying to cut off all funding for illegal aliens. Now, I don't know if this is going to be retroactive. Now, remember, for those of you that don't know, anybody that said the word asylum, they were immediately eligible for food stamps and other things, work permits. Trump signs an executive order yesterday stopping all of that. Now, I don't know if that's just for the ones now coming in or if he's going to backdate it. That could be a game changer as well. Patriot Radio News Hour, final segment coming up. 800-951-0592. We got 2 lines open. We're already halfway through. These dimes. I just want to give people an idea of how good of a deal it is. First of all, we don't separate the dimes. You're going to get Mercury dimes, Roosevelt dimes. You're going to get all of that. AppMax, one of the big online guys, they've got them on sale for $126 a roll. JM Bullion, they if you don't want them, if you don't want any Mercury dimes, right, they just give you the Roosevelt dimes. It's only $132. I mean, no big deal. Any quantity available for $3.89 per ounce over spot. We got them on sale. Rolls 1 through 24 at $120, right? Oh, melt is $118, right? That's melt. You buy 25 rolls or more, and 25 rolls, by the way, and I got to use my calculator again. I went to public school. $2,875, $2,875. You're not $3.89 over melt. You're below melt. Yeah. Below melt at 800-951-0592. Just got told Jason, we're down to 100. We got 100 rolls left. That's it. So,
quarter bag would be $5,750 if you wanted a quarter bag. I have, I think, 4 quarter bags. I have about 200 rolls live here in Colorado.
By the way, Jason's got 200 rolls live. I've got 100 rolls live. We're live with these. You can pick them up today.
Yep, you can pick them up today. They're ready to go. This is not if you want to order it and then come in today or come in on a Friday because Friday is a pretty popular pickup day here in Colorado. If you want to buy it and pick it up, it's ready to go. I have to separate the bag out. It's like this big giant bag of dimes. I got to separate it out, but I'll get it done as quickly as possible.
Yeah, counting dimes really stinks.
It's the hardest.
Listen, one bag has 10,000 dimes, so you kind of get a full bag of junk, 715 ounces, but rolls of silver dimes, 120 a roll, by 25 rolls or more, 115 at 800-951-0592. 0.592. Again, the Dow's down almost 700 points as Walmart disappointed. Listen, it wasn't terrible, but they just said, hey, listen, we're going to make about 3% in 2025. They're like, that's it? Right? That's it? Wait a minute. You're supposed to make 4. Well, no, we're only going to make 3. And, oh, by the way, we're unsure about tariffs. Right? Because remember, let's face it, a lot of stuff at Walmart, it comes from China, Mexico, Canada. You know where it comes from. So, Jason, it is something. Here's another interesting thing. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. Donald Trump's goal to abolish the IRS. Wow. That would be incredible. I think, you know what? I hate to say, you do something like that, $10,000 goal? Seriously. I mean, that would be awesome. We'll see. We'll see if it can be done. It can be done. It really could be.
I want to see a real attempt. If there's a real attempt, that would be encouraging.
Jason and I were coming right back. What a